So I've been curious about camera angle for quite some time. So camera angle, of course, I'm talking FPV camera angle as well as the session camera angle. Now I've been flying Roosters for about almost a year now, and very happy with the stock like Rooster setup. So on the Rooster, the session is basically at, turns out, like 35 degrees. So I've been running the FPV cam at like 30 degrees and the session just at the stock angle, which is like 35 degrees, I think. And yeah, that's cool. A couple things made me curious about this though. So I did some of my own experiments like ages ago on other quads. And then I've heard recently that in a few places where people are saying, oh, you know, the top FPV pilots, they're running like, you know, 20 degrees or 25 or 15 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't mind, I don't care. Happy with my setup as it is. But I was browsing online on the Brain 3D site, and I noticed that they offer a 25 degree camera mount for the Rooster. So I thought, you know, I might just try that out. So these are the mounts I've been using from Brain 3D, like forever, basically. So very awesome design mounts as always. I love the way they design their stuff. When these do eventually wear out, I just replace them with a new one. I love the colors. And this is my setup forever. It's like the Captain America setup. So this guy's at 35 degrees and this guy's at around 30. So, and I'm happy with this setup. Got the Immortal T up there, you know, everything, blah, 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 all happy. But I picked up a couple of these guys from them. So this is the same mount as my 35 degree ones, basically. It has the Immortal T thing at the back. And they've just added a little bit of, so this, imagine this is the front. They've added a little bit of forward tilt to this thing by redesigning the bottom a bit. And so I've chucked that on one of my other quads. What I also noticed, so they got some nice design touches. So like the screws in the back here, for example, you've got a little screw channel in the back of the actual TPU thing where you can run the screw in a bit easier. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the same. You've got Immortal T in the back. This is just how I'm running them now. And then you've got the different camera angles. So here I'm running 25 and 25 roughly, I think. Now to get that to work, I had to relocate the FPV cam on the Rooster. So I moved it up by a hole. So I still have this nice threaded hole at the bottom of the Runcam Rotor Riot Swift 2. So I moved the FPV camera up in the frame and tilted it kind of forward. And that lets me keep the, there's a couple of reasons for that. So that lets me keep the stock protection bar here, because that has come in handy. A lot of wear and tear on it, as you can see. And it let me tilt this camera a bit farther forward than the stock Armattan mounts will let you. So these max out at like, I think a little more than 25. It's like 30, maybe a little below 30. And it's limited by this bracket here, like the titanium brackets. Which, yeah, I ain't gonna be modifying no titanium bracket. So that's basically the setup for the moment. You know, I could like mount this FPV camera lower and remove this guy and just have this screwed in by one screw or something or whatever, but I'm not doing that yet because I'm going for the protection thing. So yeah, this is what I got. So I got my stock angle here and my low cam tilt thing. So what I'm curious about is obviously going to be a few things. So yeah, I'll just get these guys out of the way. Hoo ha ha. Awesome stuff. I love it. And you know, I love the way they customize these too. So I got like, if I do decide to go low cam tilt on these suckers, this is why another reason I love Brain 3D. So apart from the great design, like I just left in the comments, you know, the colors that I wanted and that I got too. And so they gave me like 2 versions of it, which is just kind of sick. They just do this on their own. They have, I don't know, good taste or whatever. And even on the other mounts I got from them, where is it? And for these guys, I just left Captain America in the comments, and this is what they came up with for like the stock mount, which again, I was super happy with that. Always super happy with their stuff. I'd be curious to see what the difference is in terms of 2 things. So are the flight characteristics any different of the quad? And the other thing is how it's gonna make the HD footage look different. You know, maybe I'll get props in video or this or that. Maybe it'll be weird, I don't know. So I don't really know what's gonna happen. That's why I'm gonna try it out, because I am a scientific type of dude. So I'm gonna pop some batteries on these guys, and I'm gonna try flying the lower cam tilt, and I'll chime in with my impressions later on, because it might not even become immediately obvious from flying it. So I'll probably realize a lot more when I actually review the footage later on when I'm at home and stuff too. So I might have to chuck some, you know, dub some other audio over the flights. Something I'm curious about, I could always go back to what I've been flying forever. It's awesome. I did used to fly lower cam tilt way back in the day, but I haven't done it for ages, and I haven't done it on this setup, which I'm very comfortable with. So this could be interesting, or it could be completely boring. But oh yeah, so I came to a pretty familiar spot as well. My old big tree spot. Although they cut down Steve. They cut down Steve, man, who was like the middle tree, who used to live sort of in the middle of those trees. That sucks. Yeah, I'm in a familiar spot, which I know how to fly. I'm flying a familiar quad, so it should let me kind of isolate the effect of the cam angle pretty accurately, because I'm not changing a whole bunch of variables around. So yes, this may or may not be interesting. Let's see. And it's time to run some packs now. Holy crap, I can tell straight up that that flies way different. Yeah. Cam tilt is a thing, man. That flies way different than I'm used to. Caveat, my fingers are super shaky and the quad's weird. God's sake, Tyrannus. 16.4. Thank you very much. I know there's a switch somewhere that stops it from doing that, but I can never remember where it is. Yeah, quad flies way different with low tilt. But I need to fly it more, and I need to get... So I need to like get my fingers working because they're all shaky today for some weird reason, and I also got to fly the quad more to kind of figure out what exactly is going on. But I have some theories about this. But I'll get more into that more later, because I think flying now, gathering data for science, is the most important thing I can do. Okay. That's interesting.
14.4.
So yeah, does the cam tilt difference make a difference? Oh hell yeah. Lowering the cam tilt, wow, it seriously changed how the quad responds compared to what I'm used to. The point that I almost can't fly it. Well, actually I can't, I kind of can. But yeah, it makes a friggin' difference. So basically what's happening, what I know, what I can kind of prove anyways, or whatever. Say that's your quad, right? So essentially what's happening is I kind of, since I'm flying less like this, so since I've rotated it this way, it's about your thrust vectors. Now don't freak out. Thrust vector, right? When I'm blowing air down out of my motors and I turn the quad to an angle, suddenly that thrust from the motors essentially has two vectors. So a bit of it's going back and forth and a bit of it is going up and down. So vector x-axis, y-axis. When I angle it, basically what happens when you increase your angle, you're generating more thrust towards the back. So you're getting more forward speed and you're getting less upward thrust. When you decrease the cam angle, you're getting less forward speed and more upward thrust. More direct upward thrust, less speed like that. That's just simple physics. And so yeah, when you're generally flying lower tilt, that's kind of the physics that are coming into play. However, since these are quads, we're not just stuck at that angle, but because, you know, you're changing your pitch, right? And you're rolling the quad around. So you're not always at that angle. So we don't have like, it's like we're changing the static thrust of the quad, but since that is where the horizon is or whatever, that's kind of where you're gonna tend to start, and the quad is going to tend to respond in that way. It does feel as if I have more upward thrust response on my throttle stick, and if I want to move forward a bit, I have to angle forward and give it some gas. The other interesting effect I find is that the quad's carrying less forward momentum through stuff, which is good and bad. It seems to be really good for proximity. The whole quad seems twitchier as well overall. I don't know why that would be necessarily. And my whole combined rolls thing is out the window. So since I have a different cam angle, in order for me to roll, if you know, I'm assuming you're gonna know what a combined roll is. So in order for me to get a smooth roll, it requires different inputs of yaw and roll. That way and that way on my sticks when I'm trying to do a combined roll. So that's kind of weird. But it's really cool for excuse me, really cool for proximity stuff, I find. Really cool, because you're not moving around so much, and yeah. I'm finding I can do more cooler stuff, especially reverse stuff becomes easier too, because I have less of a default tilt, so like that, getting that whole reverse effect where you push the quad back and then level it out, it's easier. The quad sort of goes back more, and yeah. So the reverse stuff looks cooler, and you're more in one place. So if you want to do a bunch of moves in one place, then it's easier because since you're not going as fast generally, it's like your brakes you're just not moving nearly as quick, and the default cruising speed seems to be lower as well. That's the best I can describe it so far, but I still got to get familiar with it, and I'm having a twitchy finger day where my fingers are all freaking out. So the only remedy to that is to fly more, and so that's what I'm going to focus on, even though I'm losing my sunlight in approximately half an hour. So yeah, fly. Do I like it better or not? That's an interesting question. Yeah, I think I will like it better once I get used to it. The only reason I might not like it better is the decrease in momentum I have for throwing the quad over stuff while I'm going forward. But what I do like is that it seems I can look down more. I have more vertical punch, and like the pros are the same as the cons. The pros are like the flip side of the cons, really. So I have less, it seems I have less speed by default, and sometimes I got too much upward thrust, which seems to be making it a bit tough to fly the quad smooth. So yeah, it does seem like the quad's twitchier for whatever reason. Maybe because that extra momentum when you're going just makes you fly a bit different, I don't know. Oh yeah, good thing I came to a familiar spot or I would be all over the place, man. Anyhow, fly, fly, fly. Alright, so here's my quick counter-argument as to why... quick counter-argument as to why I didn't think cam tilt necessarily makes a difference. That's because, yeah, if your default cam tilt's like this, you can always just pitch back a bit, and then you're effectively flying at the same angle. And it's only, you know, 5 degrees, 10 degrees difference. Or if you have less cam tilt, you can power forward a bit, right? So in theory, you should be able to do all the same stuff, like regardless of what your camera angle is at. Because you can put the quad in any of the same angles and apply the same throttle or whatever, the same combinations. You can do all the same stuff with your sticks, somehow. The only difference is that you have to do it differently, and I don't know, there's like, it's just, okay, there's muscle memory, but my theory is that there's also like visual muscle memory. So I think that the impact of a different cam angle is it just changes where your default is. Just, okay, there's muscle memory, but my theory is that there's also like visual muscle memory. So I think that the impact of a different cam angle is it just changes where your reference point is visually when you're flying the quad and how the quad responds at that reference point, if that makes sense. Don't want to talk too much, I really want to fly. The sun is just going bye-bye. That rhymes, I don't know why. Promise you I'm not hungry. No problem.